All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Haran Kim. I am a currently postdoctoral scholar at the University of Oklahoma. I'm really excited to serve as a moderator for this important sessions on behalf of the International Colloquium Planning Team and the Commission for Global Dimensions of Student Development Directorate Board. I'd like to welcome you to the fourth and final sessions of the 2026 International Colloquiums. This year, we are really proud to have presented a series of 4 webinars as part of the colloquium. And today's session marks the conclusion of that series and is titled Finding Capacity Within Emotional and Political Crisis to Sustain Student Learning and Well-Being. So before we begin, for those of you who may not be familiar with our commission brings together ACPA members from all functional area interested in cross-cultural learning, development of intercultural competencies, internationalizations, and student services around the world. And we are excited to share that we are currently recruiting new director board members. Involving in this directorate provides the opportunity for ongoing engagement with colleagues with a shared interest in international education and cross-cultural learnings. We have up to 10 open positions, and the application deadline is 11:59 on May 15. And feel free to use this QR code to submit your applications. Li-Sing, would you like to could I ask you to share the link in the chat to this applications page? Thank you so much. All right. And then before we get started, I would also like to share that here at ACPA, we are deeply invested in the idea of equity and inclusions. And I'd like to share our equity inclusion statement with you. Please take some time to individually read and understand our commitment to equity inclusions. And I believe Li-Sing will also share the link in the chat to the ACPA inclusion statement. Thank you so much. And we'll take about 1 minute to read through it individually. Okay. We would also like to learn a little bit about you. So please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat right now or throughout the sessions, whatever information you feel comfortable sharing. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started with today's colloquium session titled Finding Capacity Within Emotional and Political Crisis to Sustain Student Learning and Well-Being, which is a very timely topic. I want to acknowledge that this session was supposed to be presented collaboratively by Abu Arif and Dr. Katie Koo, but unfortunately we are missing Abu Arif today. So we have shifted the session to have a longer conversation with Dr. Koo and some engagement with the audience, and followed by Q&A. So I am really pleased to introduce you, Dr. Katie Koo. Dr. Katie Koo is an associate professor in the Department of Counseling and Human Development Services and the chair of the Community for International Students and Scholars at the University of Georgia. Dr. Koo's research focuses on underrepresented students' collegiate experiences, mental health issues, and adjustment, including international students' psychological well-being. She previously served ACPA College Student Development International Commission for Global Dimensions of Student Development as faculty in residence. And she also chaired ASH International Scholars Workshop. Dr. Koo is currently serving counsel on International Higher Educations of Association for the Study of Higher Education. Prior to her role as a faculty member, she also worked as student affairs professionals by serving diverse college students at the University Counseling Center, Residence Life, International Student Office, and Learning Assistance Services. Um, so the revised structure for today's sessions consists of Dr. Ku's presentation, small group discussion to provide opportunities for collective thinking and healing, followed by Q&A sessions. So now I will invite our presenters to share their presentations. I will move through the slides for us. So Dr. Ku, whenever you're ready, please feel free to share your presentations.
Sure. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and happy May. I can't believe that we finally hit the month of May of 2026. So, this afternoon, I'm deeply humbled and honored to speak with you about finding capacity within emotional and political crisis to sustain student learning and well-being. What a beautiful topic that the colloquium team created. Before getting to the real stories, I would like to express my gratitude to ACPA Commission for Global Dimensions of Student Development and 2026 International Colloquium team. Thank you for your time, energy, and labor. Organizing a colloquium like this requires invisible work, emotional investment, and countless decision-making process. So please make sure you celebrate tonight, as today is the last session. And special thanks to Dr. Kim for moderating today. I want to say that ACPA Global Commission means a lot to me. I am who I am because of this community. I was able to develop my professional identity, my research agenda, and collaboration opportunities through this commission. And I was also able to meet my wonderful colleagues, mentors, and scholar friends through this global commission. So thank you again for having me today and including me under your wings. So this slide, I share the agenda for today. So I will firstly share my journey and positionality that is linked to the topic of today's session. And I will talk about the power of a community to sustain student learning and well-being in this uncertain times of 2026. And then I will talk about some specific action plans and recommendations from different perspectives. So if we go to the next slide, well, thank you. To understand this topic, you need to understand where it comes from. So um, I consider myself as a transnational scholar and someone who lives between two cultures. As you look at the screen, glance at the world map, I was born and raised in Korea. I completed my education, including college in Korea, and then came to the States to pursue graduate degrees in counseling and ended up getting my PhD in student affairs. Living across different cultures cultivated my interest in global perspective, multicultural approaches, well-being, and sense of belonging. And also, I like to highlight that my scholarship is based on positive affect, love, care, and relationships, recognizing that the care is both grounding and uplifting in higher education. I also hold multiple minoritized identities. I live and work in the US as an Asian woman, as an immigrant, and as a non-native English speaker. So these intersecting identities shape my passion for supporting marginalized communities. And in the next slide, I marked all the cities where I lived for study and my job, such as East Lansing, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, Austin, Texas, Fairfax, Virginia, Flagstaff, Arizona, Dallas, Texas, and now in Atlanta, Georgia. Living in different cities and states cultivated my interest in diversity and cultural sensitivity. And with those journey in my next slide, after 22 years in the field of counseling and student affairs, I have learned several truths about human life. And there are some lessons. So the first lesson that I learned is there are always problems. So I saw that there are always problems in life, difficulties and challenges are inevitable every day. So, well, if you remember these events like 2008 financial crisis, you can raise your hand or you can show some reactions. The COVID-19 pandemic back in 2020, the rise in anti-Asian hate crimes during the pandemic time. So I still remember carrying pepper spray during COVID, and one day the Global Commission, you guys, this team had a town hall community meeting to talk about anti-Asian hate crimes. So those happened. And now we live in 2026. Since 2025, we are living in renewed uncertainty. The policies change rapidly. Research funding is cut. Many researchers are deeply impacted, this cut, and international students face visa uncertainty. Many communities live with the fear. This is our reality. Again, there are always problems and difficulties are invisible and I mean inevitable. That was the first lesson. And the second lesson of my, works as a counselor and student affairs professional, crisis can be opportunity. That's the lesson too. However, so there's always crisis, but life still goes on. During COVID, I was able to develop research projects to support Asian students because of the difficulties that Asian students was experiencing at the time. During the current political uncertainty, I continue developing research to support international students and those who are deeply impacted by these policy changes. There is a Korean saying, crisis is opportunity. Hardship can produce growth. So today, I invite you to focus not only on the difficulties, but on the opportunity within it that will be related to today's topic. And the third lesson that I learned was one caring person or one caring community can sustain the life. That was a final lesson from my 22 years of work. When you have one meaningful, caring person or a community, you don't give up. So, how that was a lesson, and that with those thoughts, yeah, you can go to the next page. Uh, Please pause and reflect. How much do you truly know about your students' experiences under today's political climate? What does it mean to be an educator during this difficult time? How honest are your students and colleagues when they share their struggles and difficulties? And please reflect. Silence does not mean someone is okay. So please continue to think about these questions that I'm posting here, and then let's move on to the next slide. So in this slide, I want to talk about some research snapshot regarding the well-being and belonging on college campuses. So far, the research shows well-being and belonging are directly linked to academic success, college satisfaction, career outcome, and psychological health. However, in the next page, you will also find some research-based findings. In the next page. So 60% of college students report experiencing mental illness. I'm only reporting some of the findings from the research. Asian American students report the highest depression rate among other racial groups. International students report even higher rates compared to other racial groups. Only 22% of depressed students they seek professional help, and among Asian American students, only 8%. So compared to 22% of other college students, only 8% of Asian American students, they seek help. And only 4.6% of international students seek help. So as you can see, the rates are very low for Asian students and international students. And international students reported the lowest sense of belonging. So thank you for being in the next page. Okay. And through the years of observation as a counselor, as a student affairs professional, and also researcher, I learned that many international students and Asian students, they have this tendency, such as they do not self-promote, they do not seek help, they do not endure, they do endure quietly, and sometimes they avoid making the troubles. And the personality often do not change, so they stay as the same. So that's when I realized that the silence can be very dangerous. I don't want to speak for all Asian or all international students, but because this is what I observed from my research and my own practices, I tried to raise these awareness because many of you will work with international students and Asian students currently. And in next session, I want to share some research and practice-based wisdom about the power of one caring community. As I learned this wisdom through my different identities as a researcher, educator, counselor, and as a mother scholar and international faculty member right now, I want to share the wisdom of power of community from all these different perspectives. So the first one is the power of a one caring community from researchers' perspective. According to the studies on well-being and belonging among diverse population on campus, based on the interviews um, from my research, so I had interviews with those who reported low sense of belonging. The researchers found that some students, staff, and faculty are being quiet, and there are some people who are being shy to disclose personal experiences. And also, they are not wanting to make trouble, again, not quite familiar with reporting officially, and also being used to endure difficulties and hold the negative feelings inside so they don't rebel, according to this research. And in the next slide, from the researcher's perspective, I was also able to find the outcome of one-on-one individual mentorship through the community. So I saw that there's some emotional support pillar and there's some opportunity for cultural exploration. And through the one-on-one mentorship through the community, I saw that the minoritized students, they were able to find a mentor and friend who were really related to their own difficulties and some cultural challenges. And those were able to help them to increase their own sense of belonging. So these were what I found uh, from the uh, from the research. So I want to highlight that um, if you are a researcher or if you continue to produce some research work, please know that one powerful, meaningful research can really change your audience. One powerful research can impact one heart that is struggling, and your research can change one person, one audience. So here, as I put in the slide, dear researchers, what was the one research that impacted you deeply, and how can you change one person with your research? How can you be the one caring researcher with your research? So those are questions that I want you to think about if you produce the research in these difficult times. In next slide, I brought some pictures of my recent works as a researcher, um, as I believe that I'm also a one caring community as a researcher. So the first picture in the left side, upper side, is a group photo of International Scholars Workshop coffee hour at the Association for the Study of Higher Education annual convention. I worked as a chair. I served as a chair for International Scholars Workshop for 4 years, and we celebrate the international scholars' work and their accomplishment at the annual convention. So we wanted to celebrate and then have some memories with the photo. The second photo located in the upper middle is a Council on International Higher Education reception at Association for the Study of Higher Education annual convention that I'm serving as a chair. That's a photo from the November 2025. This event was really possible with the a great help of the community. So I just want to highlight the power of the community. And the other photos are my recent works with the Korean government. I have some research projects going on with the Korean government funds. One of the studies is the suicide prevention for Korean American community. Um, I was privileged to present my research in front of many important government employees, um, and the Speaker of the National Assembly of Republic of Korea, which is a photo of the remaining photos. And I want to say how important these, the moments of these photos, because, my heart as a researcher and the community that I care was a powerful resource to connect the people, and then I was able to show my heart that I care for this community. So because of those opportunity, I was able to sustain the well-being of the students and also my well-being. So I just wanted to highlight how research can be a wonderful source for us to sustain our well-being and our learning. And in next slide, I present the titles of my research publications on minoritized population on campus. All these works were possible because I had caring community like ACPA, ASH. So I just want to highlight these publications were not possible without those caring community. And in next slide, I'm very happy to talk about a very special research community within the Association for the Study of Higher Education. We call this conference as ASH, ASHE. In 2022, back in 2022, I and other Korean scholars who gathered at ASH convention, we created this Korean researchers community called K-ASH. So it's a similar thing to K-pop, K-food, K-culture. We put K in front of the association name, ASH, so we created K-ASH. So within the K-ASH community, I always emphasize that your success is my success and my success is your success. We support one another because we are the community. It's the motto of K-Ash, and since 2022, I started to use the term K research, similar to K-pop, K-food, K-culture, etc. So, um, after this talk, I hope you remember me as a researcher who does K research and K-Ash, all those products. So I want to say that K-Ash community was really beyond the community. And in the next slide, the one slide before, one more, and after K-Ash slide. Yeah, this one. I guess that we can go back one more with the flower photo. Right, thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot the last slide. You can go back to the previous one. I'm so sorry. Um, so in this slide, I would like to briefly talk about my recent research projects. So, like I indicated, there's always difficulties, there's always challenges in life, and I know international students are going through a lot in 2025 and 2026. And as I have several conversations with my other international students, I wanted to raise this issue and try to come up with a research project so that it can be somewhat community build opportunity and also some healing place for international students who struggle. So well, with the funding from ACPA senior scholars, I forgot the full title. It's a long title, but it's funded by the Senior Scholars Association. So with that funding, we were able to develop this longitudinal qualitative study on capturing international students' experiences under this political climate. So the title of this specific research project was From Surviving to Thriving, Resilience, Strength, and Coping Strategies that International Students Experience During 2025 and 26 Political Climate in U.S. Higher Education. From the interviews with other international students, I was able to find some part of this research project, I really wanted to focus on the positive experiences that international students have while they go through the difficult times. So there were different themes that were emerged from this research that during this difficult time of 2025 and 26 political climate, international students were able to refocus on their schoolwork and professional development while they experienced difficulties because they knew that they are not sure when they have to go back to their home country, and they felt like there's an urgency and there are not a lot of opportunity for them to stay in the US, so they tried to refocus on schoolwork. They really wanted to work hard. I will maximize my time. I want to do this. I want to be successful because of this difficult situation. So I found that although the situation was very difficult and negative, but international students, they had this resilience, strength, and they have their own coping strategies. I'm not going to go over and read everything, but I found that international students, they were really trying to maximize what they could do over these difficult times. And also they were able to receive and provide support to their fellow international students through the community. So from this research, I was able to hear the vivid stories from the international students that they were able to utilize this difficult time as an opportunity of resilience, strength, and coping. So um, I just submitted this research proposal to ASH convention yesterday. Um, and let's go to the next one. Yeah, thank you. So um, from this slide, I want to share the power of one caring community from the counselor's perspective. Um, so um, as a faculty, I both have the student affairs and the counseling background. I used to be a counselor before, and I provided individual and group counseling as a counselor prior to my faculty job. As a former counselor, I clearly observed that one caring community can literally save one person's life. So if you are a counselor or if you are a health professional, please know that you can save somebody's life with your one caring heart. And I want to say that one community can impact emotional, social, physical, and spiritual, intellectual well-being of one person. You know, these days we always emphasize self-care, and I know that self-care is so important. But at the same time, I believe that we care principle is also important. If you care others, that care also comes back to you as a cycle. So I want us to think about we care system today because there's always self-care. So today, maybe you can think about the we care. Lastly, one small act of caring can change one person. So I brought the photo as evidence. This is a photo that I took in my office, in my building. My doctoral advisee, Leanne, she's an international student. Her hobby is knitting, and one winter day in last fall, when I was so struggle with my different reasons, and I almost gave up. And Leanne left her gift of these handmade knitted flowers in my office. And I was in tears when I opened her gift because this little flower really made my day on that day. And I was able to not to give up on that day. So please remember your little act of caring can save one person like this. And care is um, cyclical. So it's a cycle. When you care for others, someone will return to you about this care. And in the next slide, I want to talk about the power of one caring community from educators' perspective. If you are an educator, whether you are a professor or future professor, TA or K-12 teachers or counselors, Believe that your classroom can be the healing space for one person. Your teaching today can change your student's life, your student's heart. So please keep your mission and calling as an educator and be the one caring heart, one caring community. Um, so from the educator's perspective, I like to ask you two questions. Who was one caring educator who impacted you and how? And how can you be the one caring community in your classroom? So lastly, I would like to explain the importance of educator-student interactions. Not only educators can be the one caring person, but students can also be a one caring community for the teachers. So in this photo, I experienced that my students impacted my perspective. They motivated me and then they changed me. So I would like to say that one caring community can impact the mutual and reciprocal belonging. And so this photo in the slide is my research team picture, my research team from the University of Georgia, my institution. Um, and my students, they always teach me and they impact me. And I want to say that these students in the photo, they are my teachers. And in the next slide, let me share the power of one caring community from Mother Scholars' perspective. Um, I want to highlight because, education, not every educators or researchers or professors, they're not the same, but especially for mother scholars, because this is a month of May and there's a Mother's Day in the middle. If you are a mother scholar or the parent scholar, you are the one caring community, one caring person at your home already. And you are an educator for your children, you are a counselor for your children, you are the community for your children, you are the researcher for your children, you are the nutritionist for your children, you are the financial manager for your children. You have so many different roles. You are the best friend of your children, you are the example to your children, you are now changing the history of your children as one caring community. So this morning I woke up like 4 a.m. because I had to pack lunch boxes for my children, and then there was a very early end of semester exam for my first son. So I cooked breakfast before I left home, and I'm pretty sure that many of you already did it the same thing that I did for your family. So you are already one caring community for your family. And lastly, in the next slide, I would like to share the power of one caring person from international faculty's perspective. This slide, I want to share my own observations and learning as an international faculty who work with many other international scholars. Um, so based on my research, especially from the interviews for my research, these bullet points are the research findings about international students and scholars. International students and scholars, they have a great potential. International scholars are very smart, but they just don't show, or they sometimes very shy to self-promote. So if you are the caregiver for international scholars, you can promote for themselves. International students and scholars are very strong and persevere. International students and scholars, they succeed over time, although they may struggle at the first stage, according to my own research findings. So I I also recommend not to provide only US-centric resources to international students and scholars, and please begin with culturally sensitive programs and international student-friendly programs. An international student will happily utilize campus resources if those are culturally sensitive. One-on-one individual meaningful relationship is very important for international students and scholars. And I put this as well. If you give one to international student scholars, they will give you 10 backs. So these are from my research findings, and please understand their potential and be the one caring community for them. Your support is critical for them and to feel connected and belonged. So, um, Before I close today, I want you to pause one more time and I want you to think about a moment in your life when you almost give up. And um, these are some examples of how I try to be one caring community by empowering the community that I care with the different, uh, perspectives. So the first things first, for your actions and recommendations. Again, we have a lot of self-cares these days. People always talk about self-care, but I really want you to think about we care system as well today in this moment. And I want you to remember the motto that I shared. Your success is my success, as my success is your success. When you give one to this person will give you back. Be the one caring community today. So you can say maybe after the end of semester because it's busy, maybe after, the after my dissertation defense, but try to start today, right now. But please think about where and when you can start the community. Who is a one student that who needs your care today? So who is a person that you can be one meaningful community? And the next slide. Before I close today, I want you to pause one more time. And you can please remember that you can be one caring community for your students today under this difficult situation with your heart, with your expertise. And today and right now, you can be one caring community for the people around you. Was there one person or one community who made it possible for you to keep going? Maybe it's not a program, it's not a policy, maybe it's not a committee, maybe one person or one community. Maybe they sent you an email saying, do not give up. Maybe they stayed after the class and then they approach you and maybe they said to you, I believe in you. Maybe they just simply listen to you. And because of that one caring person or one caring community, you're still here, I want to say. And now let me ask you something more important. Who is waiting for you to be that person? Who needs your support as a community? So think about that. Maybe somewhere in your campus, somewhere in your office. Sometimes people will not raise their hands. Maybe sometimes people will not schedule an appointment. They just never tell you they are struggling. But please approach them and be the community for them. And maybe you are the reason that they stay. Maybe you are the reason that they don't give up. So thank you so much. And I share my contact info in the next slide. And Dr. Kim, you can facilitate the discussion.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Ko. This was such an amazing and empowering presentation. Your presentation, your insights deeply resonated with me, and I'm sure it resonated with a lot of us navigating the current climate. So I want to thank you so much for your time and for your presentation again. So it looks like we'll have some time to get into a small breakout room to have some collective healing and collective sort of discussion times. So I will put us in a breakout room to discuss this one questions. Let me just put the prompt in the chat. How are you finding capacity in this time within your roles? But also, I recognize that Dr. Ku raised a lot of really important questions in her presentation as well. So, if there were any questions that deeply resonated with you from her slides, feel free to discuss those questions as well. So, maybe we can spend about 7 minutes or 7 to 8 minutes in our small breakout room and then we can come back as a whole group. So I'll put all of us in a small breakout room. Does that sound okay with everybody? Um, okay, 1 second. We'll do maybe 5 breakout rooms. So you can briefly introduce yourself in your small group chat. And then, yes, I'll stop the recording.